Hey everyone, it's Anna J. Wellner with the Bookish Nook, part of the Author Library Network, sponsored by Creative Edge Publicity. And with me today, I am delighted to have Zaira Pirzada. Zaira, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you as well. I really appreciate it, Anna.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. So, author of Qurbaan, a poet's liberation. I'm so intrigued with the title. What does it mean?
Qurbaan, it can be translated into a few ways. So, first and foremost, it means a sacrifice. And um, I think I can date it for you. In Judaism, Korban is used as well. And it's formally a sacrifice for atonement. It's a sacrifice
Okay.
for God in some way. And then it slowly found its way as well into Islam. The Abrahamic religions sort of share this. And Qurban means just about the same thing, but how I've used it is to signify a relentless devotion, a sort of uh, martyring of self in a way that's metaphorical. So it's releasing oneself, and that's why it's a poet's liberation. So, in many ways, there
Love
are
that.
elements of all of that.
Letting go of things that don't serve you energetically or spiritually or things like that to become a better person and to maintain a healthier relationship.
So, this is maybe in some ways you can interpret that from it. More or less, it's Qurban is like my giving myself to the world. So
Oh, okay.
being more or less a devotee of the art, being myself a martyr for the art as well. I consider my entire life to be devoted to art. So Qurban was my giving myself. It's a sacrifice of myself. It's my opening up and revealing who I am.
I love that. That's so beautiful. Poetry is something that I admire, but I've yet to master. Growing up, when I was a kid, other children were read stories like Snow White and, fairy tales. And I was read great British poets like Keats, Coleridge. When did you come to find? Yes, I know. From my dad's big college textbook that I have actually somewhere in my bookshelf. But that's what he would read us at night to fall asleep to. So
That's
when it's a little dense for kids though. But when
sure.
did you come to find your love of poetry?
From a very young age, my grandfather was a poet,
Oh,
and yeah, I heard raving stories about his poetry from his sisters, and he was always somewhat entrenched in academia and writing. And I was raised by my grandparents, so the love started there, and then it found its way into the library. My mother used to always take my brother and I to the library after school. She's an avid reader, so she
wow.
instilled that passion in us. And I started to stumble upon a lot of random things at a young age. You talk about Coleridge. I fell in love with reading Goethe probably when I was 11 or 12. So yeah, these are odd odd ages to enjoy that work. But you know, when you have a physical library, I don't know if people still get this today. You have so much freedom to roam. So at a young age, I roamed, and that's what I found. Yes, it came from home, from the family, but it also came from exploration.
Oh, absolutely. And through life itself, I would imagine. Would
Mm.
you do you have the book with you? Would you it if it's not too much to ask, would you mind? Since
Oh,
I am such a fan of poetry, would you mind picking out something that it has a special meaning to you?
ah,
I would love to hear something because spoken, the way that a poet speaks their own words is just so melodic and efflorescent to me. I love the way that it sounds in cadence. And the only person that I truly believe can read it the way that it was written is the poetess themselves. So I would be honored if you would share that with me and with us.
Absolutely. Now, you see, this book is heavy. There, there's a lot of heavy poetry here, and I'm talking about poetry that isn't just always romantic. It's also political. It's also challenging a lot of sociocultural institutions. So, are you all right with content like that?
I am, yes.
Okay, I will pick out one that I adore. It's called "For the America That Made Me." Somewhere on the rooftop, through secret stairs of the laundromat where mom spent her last coin to dull the noses of the white kids pondering my spiced closet, I rapped to Biggie with my broken English. A commandment to failed systems that sustained salsa on the streets and Chinese below, where I was little India, feeling the weight of being more than America could help. We, of alien lands under patriots, lived in the fabric. Indelible color painting necessary culture. A reprisal to a maybe bloodied Protestant utopia, an unlikely outcome to the post-native genocide. How lucky these stars and stripes are. The rocket's red glare found us through railroads stained in immigrant blood, held steady by the bones of tribes and slaves, giving truth to the night that our flags are still here. Some would say the USA, the ungrateful, shriveling anxious. This is the irony of the land of the free, never liberated from the ruling gaze and timidity masked in exclusionary badges. Imperialized neighborhoods, migrations to the outskirts, shackles and cells suffocating our kin, and redactions of our beings into the history hidden between the textbook lines only my brown eyes can see. We are loved so much we are watched. Sometimes we are hated so much that they hide. The ugly truth is in that chaos, a masquerading identity falling roots meeting lands to nowhere, while our truth lives on our skin and sings from our tongues. Some would say jealousy finds its reflection in the America that made me.
Wow. I love that. And for reasons that you might be really, really surprised about. My grandfather is half Native American, my mother a quarter. And so I show very my sister shows very little. I was adopted, but my daughter, her father, her biological father is Native American. And I dislike the history books intensely and the way that the culture of my ancestors, my adoptive ancestors, my grandfather was an amazing man, um, of Native American descent, and I go to the reservation so that she can see the actual tribal dances and connect with her heritage that still exists in the Alabama Coshada Reservation, about an hour and a half away. And I want her to be raised with that truth, not the truth that is in the textbooks that she will be taught in school.
Yeah, you see me then.
I do. I see you. I do. It's
Um,
that's amazing. And like I said, being so very pale myself, it's surprising how deeply I connected with what you just read. And that's amazing that you're able to reach someone that you probably didn't think that I would get quite that message.
you know,
That's why I
uh,
was smiling.
I didn't judge. I didn't judge. So you never know where someone's from. I'm Indian and Pakistani. However, I don't. I mean, I show that because I'm brown. However, a lot of Pakistani women are very, very light skinned. Um, and there are various Indian women that are too. They don't necessarily wear it all the time. And there are others that are mixed, and mixed is still home.
Yes.
Mixed is still home. So you know You know where you stand if you feel offended or you feel welcomed by what I say. And that's all that matters. You don't have to wear it on your skin.
Always welcomed, and it's also a deep understanding that I have of inclusion and of being I actually worked in the oil and gas industry, so a lot of my peers and coworkers
Yeah.
were of varying ethnicities, and I loved hearing them talk about their culture and share that with me. Growing up, I lived in a place where I was fortunate enough to attend a school that had children from, my best friend was from Singapore. And it was so amazing to get to travel with her to her country and get to experience that culture. I'm a lover of all cultures, and diversity in and of itself, I think, to not be a lover of the world and of the human condition and of the human spirit. And that, at the end of the day, that is who we are. And that's what poetry is so amazing in doing, is that it transcends the bounds of skin color, of race, of ethnicity, of culturalism, of anything. And it speaks to the very heart of who you are and what you believe.
This is it. That's Qurbaan in a way. See, artists are that. Um, I
Yeah.
tried to find a way to explain that in the beginning. I was saying it's a martyr, it's a sacrifice, it's a devotee. Qurbaan, it also comes from this tradition for a lot of Muslims. There's Eid al-Adha, it's the second Eid, and we sacrifice an animal. It's called Qurbani. It's a way that we sacrifice animals uh, to give away to people, to also give to our families, and then feed ourselves. It's the purpose of feeding the community and feeding others. And it's a way of also, let's just say, giving back. Yet you can see how interesting this tradition is. You have to kill something. You have to let go of something. This is a qurban, and I think artists do this. Artists don't hold back. True artists, they say what they are because it's written on their skin. They don't know what else to do with it, and this is what they are. And by all means, if it ruins every institution that surrounds them, never have they had fear. Many were martyrs for the art, writers especially. And I wrote in my description of this book very quickly that um, actually it's online. This is for the women that from my heritage will follow me in the States. Not to hold your tongue. Qurban, even if it means you are the sacrifice for the people, because it ultimately will feed the people. So this was my way of saying, I don't care.
I love any sort of female empowerment because I'm very much of the same mind. I want my daughter to aspire to be a strong be a strong woman, independent, strong-willed, and to speak her mind and to be the person that she feels that she was meant to be. Because growing up, I didn't always have the ability to speak out. So yeah, I want to definitely foster that inside of her as a mother.
That's the best gift we can give, what we didn't have.
So, yes,
And, perhaps what benefit we can give, because that's the lessons we've learned. However,
absolutely.
however traumatic, however, um, yeah, whatever it is, it materializes into something that's strength in you, and that's inevitable strength in your daughter. That's inevitable.
Thank you. Well, this is the only collection that you have available, but it is, from what you've read, just absolutely beautiful and poignant, and so well put, the way that you write, and you have a very clear-cut message. Is there anything else that you're working on that's speaking to you at the moment?
Ah, yeah. So, it's not a heavy promise. It's a manifestation. I'm working on it now. I'm working on a visual for each of the pieces.
Manifestation.
Yeah, so I've just graduated from acting school. I have many hats, and I also enjoy acting. And I want to take all of that experience and show you a visual what happened in my brain as I was making this and what would be the vision in my head. So for the 30 pieces in there.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I'm writing a second poetry book now, and working on a collection of short stories. So
Creativity just has a fuel and a fire all of its own, doesn't it?
it does. You know, the the second book I'm working on, that's going to be titled Fana. See, these are heavy words. Qurbaan is a heavy Arabic word, and it follows itself into the Urdu language that's spoken in South Asia, across Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, even in parts of Afghanistan for people who have immigrated there. But Qurbaan, you know what it means. Fana is like a moth to a flame. It's the ultimate end. Uh, Now, people can use it romantically, or people can use it like as if it's the end of life, but it's the end of the soul being as well. So, you know, you can say something very romantic like tujme fana, like in you is my end, right? And if you say that to a lover or somebody, you're like, oh my gosh. Uh, so what Fana is going to be is a collection of poems that will follow a lot of the Urdu poetry traditions that I have learned. However, they will be in English. And I will make that entire one a love poetry compilation.
Oh, that's awesome. So definitely, guys, be looking out for that. And it, it's something that that you definitely need to check out. And I will have the links in the description below. Qurbaan, a poet's liberation. Once again, so make sure that you go check that out. So where can people connect with you about your work on social media? Do you have a website?
So right now I have a Facebook running from my author page, Zaira Pirzada, and I will be creating a website. I have always liked to do things very quietly and write on my own. And Lucid House Publishing, which is my publisher for the book, has made it a point that I get out there because the poetry speaks to them, and it seems to speak to you as well.
It
So
does. It
I will
does,
be doing
absolutely.
that. Yeah. For now, Facebook, by all means, follow my author page, and then slowly but surely I will have that website to you.
Guys, make sure that you go and follow Zara on Facebook. And again, I will have the link to Qurbaan in the description below. So definitely check that out. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. And it was an absolute pleasure to hear you read for all of us today.
Absolutely, Anna. Thank you. And I'm glad that it touched you. Hopefully,
It did.
I can hear the same from many others. And I'm happy I learned about you too.
I'm certain that you will. Everyone else, if you haven't already, make sure and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on some amazing upcoming content. And stay safe, stay healthy, everyone. Bye.